All right, good evening. I would like to call the Township of Wainfleet regular council meeting of May 21st, 2024 to order. Please stand for the national anthem. We would like to begin this meeting by acknowledging the land on which we gather is a traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee peoples, acknowledging the One Bowl and Spoon Treaty. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. So please note that these meeting proceedings are being broadcast live, recorded, and made available through the Township website and youtube.com. Our next regular meeting of council is Tuesday, June 11th at 6:30 p.m. There will be a regional council meeting this Thursday. Transit met this afternoon, and the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority just met last Friday. Are there any announcements or remarks for members of council? Councilor Gilmore, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Just for staff's note, I'll be away on June 11th.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to move into the adoption of the previous council minutes. Are there any comments, corrections for the draft minutes from the meetings listed on the agenda this evening? Seeing none, I have a motion that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held April 30th, 2024, and the joint special meetings of council held April 29th, 2024, and May 13th, 2024 be adopted as circulated. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Councilor Van Fleet, Councilor Gilmore, any discussion? None, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. We have no public meetings this evening. So we're going to move into delegations. We have one delegation this evening. Carla Eckhart is joining us via Zoom from Fax Niagara to share information regarding the 3rd annual Mountain View Lemonade Day. Ms. Eckhart, you have 10 minutes to make your presentation to council.
Hello. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, it's actually, my name is Caroline Pogravia, and I am the chair of the Fax Foundation. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Continue.
Okay, so is someone going to be doing the presentation? Like, is someone going to be showing the presentation?
We can do that.
Yeah, please.
Just 1 second here. We'll get our IT staff here to get it up on the screen.
Thank you. Sorry, I am on the way. You were supposed to have my son this evening, but he's in concussion protocol right now. Perfect. Thank you very much. So good evening, and thank you for welcoming us to your meeting. I'm very excited to share with you the 3rd annual Mountain View Lemonade Day for Fax Niagara will take place on Saturday, June 8th. It's our 3rd annual event, and we're hoping once again to receive your support and your endorsement for this initiative. You can go to the next slide. Next slide. My name is Caroline Pogravia, and I am the chair of the foundation. The foundation has been around for 25 years, and it raises money to support the mission of Fax Niagara. FACS receives government funds for our core programs and services. However, the foundation exists to raise funds to further support the children, the youth, and the families that are served by our agency. The money raised by our generous donors supports programs and services in which the agency receives absolutely no government funding for. Can I move to the next slide? Slide 3. No? A few years ago, my son Jaden and my daughter Caitlin had an idea to run a lemonade stand, and they didn't know what they wanted to do with the money. And I had just joined the FACS Niagara board, and we were doing our Summer Smiles campaign, which sends kids to camp. And I said, "Are you interested in trying to help send a kid to camp?" So that's what we did. And then when we were in COVID, we were looking for ideas and ways of doing some fundraising that was socially distanced. And I brought this idea to our foundation board, and they thought it was great. And the Mountain View Lemonade Day was born. You may recall that Mountain View Lemonade Day invites families to set up lemonade stands in their communities to collect donations in support of our summer camp programs. Summer camp has so many social and emotional benefits for our kids and supports their positive growth and development. Thanks to our title sponsor, Mountain View Building Group, 100% of the money raised goes to helping deserving kids go to summer camp. And we provide everything that a family needs to host a very successful lemonade stand. I need to go to slide 4, but our CEO wants to thank everybody for getting involved, because these are programs that the government does not fund, and we would not be able to bring them to life and bring them to families if we didn't do initiatives like this with the foundation. Families that are supported by FACS generally lack the financial resources to send their kids to summer camp. And we would truly believe that all the children should have the opportunity to have these enriching experiences in childhood, and which is what makes this event so super important. We have a quote from our camper in your package that just speaks to the value of this program and their understanding that they are getting something really special in their life. And you can see here that the children benefit from summer camp by making friends, doing their fun activities, and learning new things. And building their social skills is probably one of the biggest things, building their self-confidence. Last year, with the support of sponsors, families, and municipalities such as yourself, we were able to raise $100,000 with the kids and be able to send other kids to camp. So it truly is a kids helping kids campaign. This year, we're hoping to go even bigger and better and making positive difference in our lives of our families. So what did that 100,000 support last year? We were able to give 500 children across the entire region a family camp experience, or a summer camp experience. And some of those included sending children to week-long camps. Others, they were overnight camps. And then we also were able to support some foster families and able to go on some just camping excursions with their foster kids and their families. So that was great. And another way we were able to support through this funding was we did up 150 camp baskets, so camp at home, and it gave youth things like scooters and sports equipment, sprinklers, toys, and they were able to explore nature and get outside and do those activities. So FACS Niagara supports a range of services in our communities. We, on average, 400 children each month are served, and we provide the services to more than 600 families on an ongoing basis. Summer camp is just one of the ways that we help create positive memories, learn new things, and just try and get families to have fun. We'd like to say that lemonade is for everybody. So thanks to our sponsors, we provide everything a family needs to host a lemonade stand. That includes the banner, the stands, hats, and t-shirts for the kids, lemonade concentrate, thanks to Tim Hortons, pitchers, cups, and stickers. We don't want families to have to feel the burden of getting all of that set up, and they're just able to go, and it makes it accessible and available for any family to participate and give back to their community. So 100% of the dollars that are raised goes to send kids to camp. There's no administrative fees and no direct cost to families because of our sponsors that are able to offset those costs for us. So registration opened on April 22nd. It's going through to the end of May, so it's coming up. There's still 3 weeks before the event comes. More information can be found on our website or by calling the foundation. And we're grateful for your council support in raising awareness and helping increase the number of lemonade stands in your community. And we respectfully ask that you declare Saturday, June 8th, Mountain View Lemonade Day for facts. At present, we're sitting at 73 out of our 100 stands registered across the region. Last year, we had a stand in every region, and we're hoping for that same here. We don't have one in Wainfleet yet, so we'd love to see a few in Wainfleet before registration closes. And we're happy to announce that Meridian Credit Union has encouraged their families to get involved, and they're going to be hosting at 12 of their locations across the region, with one of them right here in Wainfleet. So there's still time to get involved, and we hope that you're able to spread the word and ask that you share our materials on your social if you're able to, and encourage local families to get involved in the fun. We're aiming to have families in every municipality across the region. So also, personally, if you can just plan to get involved on June 8th, either go to the Meridian Credit Union locally or support any stands near you or in person or online, that would be greatly appreciated. And I'd also like to thank Mayor Grant for participating in our lemon toss video this year. We hope everybody had a chance to see it. So thank you very much for your attention and allowing me to come to your meeting, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
So thank you for your presentation. Are there any comments or questions for our delegation from the members council? Seeing none, are there any other further discussion from the members of council? Seeing none, is there a member that would like to make a motion? All right. Yeah. Sherry, would you like to be the one?
Apparently I would. I would
Okay,
love to.
I'll take over if you want, but you
It's
can.
okay. I
All
will
right.
make a motion that we receive this for in support, as we did in previous years.
Okay.
I'm sorry, and declare June 8th by declaring it
Do you want me to?
Mountain View Lemonade Day. Is that what it is?
All right. So I have a motion that, first I need a seconder. Counselor Anderson, any further discussion? Seeing none. Should I read the motion just so everybody knows out loud? Okay, yes. So I have a motion that the Township of Wainfleet declare Saturday, June 8th, Facts Niagara's Mountain View Lemonade Day. All right. So if there's no other questions or comments, I will ask the question. All in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you. There you go. Oh,
Well, thank you
Okay.
very, very much.
oh, one of our counselors has a comment.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to know, are we going to put the information up on our socials? So if anybody wants to register?
Absolutely. We should definitely put up our information on socials and see if we can get some of the kids from our local schools, and maybe we'll get some lemonade stands across Wainfleet.
Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much for having us. Hopefully your son is okay with his concussion protocols.
Yeah, he's a typical 13-year-old boy, so it is what it is. He's resting. He's resting.
All right. Have a great
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Okay, so moving on to the consent agenda, we have no items on the consent agenda this evening. So we're going to move into staff reports, ASR 008-2024, respecting the shared services update, fire administration. Ms. Louie, could you please provide a brief overview of the report?
Yes, thank you. So through the mayor to all of council, so this is just an update to appoint a council representation for the Shared Fire Services Committee. So Councillor McClellan, who he's not here today, but it will be appointed as the member, and Councillor Van Vliet will be the alternate.
So with that, I have a motion that the administrative staff report ASR 008-2024 be received, and that the bylaw attached as Appendix A, being a bylaw to establish a shared fire services committee and terms of reference, be approved, and that Councillor McClellan be appointed as the primary council representative on the shared fire services committee, and that Councillor Van Vliet be appointed as the alternate council member or representative on the shared fire services committee. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Gilmore. Councillor Anderson, any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. Okay, moving on to ASR number 9-2024, review of council's procedural bylaw. Ms. Christina, I don't even know how to. Could you please provide a brief overview of your report?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor, to all of council. So the report before you proposes a couple of updates to our procedure bylaw. Staff recently became aware of some guidance provided by the ombudsman related to technical issues during electronic meetings. And as you know, we experienced such issues at our last meeting of council. So it was deemed prudent to make updates to allow the public to be aware of what our process would be in any instances like that. And we've also seen an increase in requests to delegate that would be more appropriately handled through other means. And so it made sense to incorporate updates to the delegation protocol at the same time. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. So I have a motion that the administrative staff report ASR 009-2024 respecting review of council's procedural bylaw be received and that the bylaw amendment attached as Appendix A be adopted. Can I have a mover and a second? Councilor Gilmore, Councilor Van Fleet, any discussion? No? Okay. No, I saw, it looked like you were just scrolling in there for a second, so I wanted to see if you're just looking for a page. All right, so no discussion, I'll call a question. All in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. So moving on to planning staff reports, we have PSR 004-2024 respecting the proposed amendments for cannabis production facilities. Ms. Ivins, could you please provide a brief overview of your report?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. This report provides an analysis of the proposed changes to the zoning bylaw, site plan control bylaw, and the medical marijuana licensing bylaw, replacing the term medical marijuana facility with the term cannabis production facilities. Previous consultation was held through Planning Staff Report 002 of this year, as well as an open house on April 24th and a statutory public meeting on April 30th. So staff are recommending that the changes be adopted and the implementing bylaws are on this evening's agenda for consideration, being bylaw number 20, 21, and 22.
Thank you. So I have a motion that the planning staff report PSR 004-2024 be received and that the zoning bylaw amendment attached as Appendix B be adopted and that the bylaw to amend site plan control bylaw 028-2015 attached as Appendix C be adopted and that the bylaw to amend medical marijuana licensing bylaw 057-2017 attached as Appendix D be adopted. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councilor Gilmore, Councilor Anderson, any discussion? Councilor Anderson, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Sarah, do you have any idea where that case law study is at the moment? On, or is that just before the courts?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, Councilor Anderson, we're still in the very early stages of that. So we have a pre-conference hearing coming up in the next couple of weeks. So there hasn't been much progress from the last update. But we will keep council updated as soon as we have more information on timelines and how we plan to defend the township's bylaw.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? And I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. So moving on to PSR 005-2024, respecting the proposed amendments to zoning bylaw 034-2014, zoning bylaw amendment Z01-2024W, housekeeping amendment. Ms. Ivins, could you please provide a brief overview of your report?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. This report provides analysis of the housekeeping changes to zoning bylaw 034-2014. Which addresses some common minor variance applications, provides clarifications on definitions and provisions to improve the functionality of the bylaw, and establishes zoning for the township's hamlets to conform with the official plan. So similar to the previous report, we did some public consultation through Planning Staff Report 003 of this year, an open house on April 24th, and the statutory public meeting on April 30th. As a result of the feedback received from both council and the public, 2 changes were made to the original proposed amendment. The first being the proposed changes to home occupations and home industries were removed for consideration, so they're no longer within the amendment. And the renewal period for garden suites has increased from the initial proposed 3 years to 5 years. So you would get an initial permissions for 10 years and then renew on a 5-year basis to a maximum of 20 years, which is what is permitted under the Planning Act. So staff are recommending that the changes be adopted and the implementing bylaw is on the agenda as bylaw number 23.
Thank you. So I have a motion that the planning staff report PSR 005/2024 be received and that the zoning bylaw amendment attached as Appendix B be adopted. And that the zoning bylaw amendment be deemed to be consistent with the Provincial Policy Statement 2020 and other matters of provincial interest. Can I have a mover and a second? Counselor Gilmore, Counselor Anderson, any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Oh, Counselor Anderson, before the buzzer.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. So Sarah, there's quite a number, like a lot of reading and information there. And I'm just wondering, we've increased our base coverage at residential lots to 10%, correct?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Anderson. So that is for the agricultural and rural zones. Currently, the bylaw, where a single detached dwelling is the primary use on a lot, the maximum lot coverage is currently 7%. We're increasing that to 10%, which aligns with previous council decisions for the hamlets, where we also increased the lot coverage for a dwelling to 10%. So now it'll be consistent across the agricultural, rural, and then as well as the hamlet zones.
Through you, Mayor, and the accessory building coverage of 4%, is that restricted to rural agricultural?
So in the amendment, 4% was the agricultural and rural zones, as well as our residential zones. So the residential lakeshore zone and the residential hamlet zone. So that the change was made to 4%. And then for the commercial zones, I've changed it to 5%.
Okay, and if I can continue, Mayor. So in summary, Sarah, if you have a residential lot that has, let's say 7% coverage, and we're going to 10, and you want to do an accessory, then you can only add on 3%, right? Not 4%. You can't overtop the 10. I'm just trying to get at a balance there. Is that?
That's correct.
Okay.
So each individual property owner would be able to decide how they want to split that 10%. The maximum overall is 10%, and then they can have an accessory building up to 4% without needing a minor variance.
Okay, thank you. That was just a math question. Thank you.
Any other discussion or comments? Seeing none, so I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. So we're moving on to the review of correspondence, C 2024-245, respecting the Age-Friendly Advisory Committee of April 17th, 2024 minutes. Councillor Van Fleet, you're requested to pull this item of correspondence. Do you wish to make a motion?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, the committee met last week and they wanted me to pull this just to see if council would continue to support it. So that correspondence item C-245 respecting the Age-Friendly Advisory Committee, April 17th, 2024 minutes, and the motion contained therein be received, and that the City of Niagara Falls resolution respecting establishing a discounted and competitive seniors fare be supported.
Absolutely. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Anderson, perfect. Any discussion? Councillor Anderson, go ahead.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. So in that letter request, I think it was C, where they had proposals. And there was a bottom suggestion that they wanted a increase or a change in the on-demand ride availability in the township. So instead of just going to drop-offs outside, they wanted to be able to go from somewhere in Wainfleet to somewhere in Wainfleet. I think that, you know, in our sort of agreements to accept and support, I think that on demand is outside of our jurisdiction. I believe that's a regional transit authority. And so I'm not really sure that we can, I mean, I'm not sure that's within our jurisdiction to, I mean, we can ask and support it, but that isn't something that we can make happen legislatively, I don't believe.
So through the mayor to all of council. So that is a level of service that initially when transit was getting uploaded to the region, that the township opted for the level of service that we currently have. we can opt for a higher service, which obviously would come with a price tag. So if council wants to support that, then my recommendation would be to direct staff to investigate further at what that cost might look like and what the increase in service would look like.
I'll provide just a little bit of comment since I do sit on transit and this was coming up. So I did reach out to Carla Stout, the director of the transit system, and did ask for a report on what that actual cost would be to the township if we wanted to increase our level of service. So we can get an idea of what that is before we decide to do that. Yep. Councilor Van Fleet, go ahead.
And this is to all council, the Age Advisory Committee has asked for a representation from the committee to come and talk, and they've declined. Yeah, not from you, from the commission. Yeah, they've declined to come. So.
Councilor Anderson, go ahead.
So through you, Mayor, I think it's a worthwhile pursuing that from a costing, to look at costing. We already have a set cost that the transit offers us to pay, so we're doing that. I think I would just suggest to the age-friendly people that they put a little more emphasis on a special senior fare or a rating fare to reduce the cost of transit. And then transit in and around Wainfleet is a second issue from costing of just a fare from here into Welland. So like there are two things on the go there. So you should be chasing fair prices and you know, if you think there's enough ridership in Wainfleet for on demand, I think at the very least, Transit is probably going to tell you that they'll go pilot on that and not really commit to anything until they see if there's enough ridership to even warrant putting that program out to Wainfleet. I don't think this is an easy issue at all. Thank you.
I'll jump back in again. So as far as on demand, so currently the model is $6 to travel anywhere within, but Wainfleet is not alone with this on-demand service and the problems that are kind of coming with it. A lot of other municipalities, even Grimsby just stated today that they're having a lot of problems with delays, canceled ridership, things like that, where, you know, it makes it almost impossible for people to schedule appointments and still use this on-demand service. So there has to be some sort of changes made to the specialty service. And as far as your last comment, if we want to go down that road, ultimately the transit service will deliver whatever service we want, but that cost will come back to the entirety of the Wainfleet, right? So it's just a matter of, you know, what level do we want to go on, right? Currently, the model is somewhat silly for us people in our rural, you know, atmospheres, right? I can pay $6, go to Port Colborne, you know, get off my out of the van and then turn around and make the phone call again, and I can get a ride back to any address I want in Wainfleet, but I can't stop at an address on my way through, which is what the real issue is, especially for our you know, the people that are a member of our age-friendly committee, right? They just want to go pay their taxes or come to the arena to, you know, partake in activities, but that's not possible without traveling an hour and a half back and forth. So I think that's where some of the problems are that they're trying to fix right now. Is there any other comments to the motion? No, yeah, I understand. Okay, with that, I will call the question of all in favor. Opposed, and that is carried. Are there any other items of correspondence that council wishes to address? Seeing none? Okay, so I'm going to move into the bylaws. We have several bylaws on the agenda this evening. I have a motion that the following bylaws be read and passed this 21st day of May, 2024. Bylaw number 18, 2024, being a bylaw to establish the Fire Services Review Committee and to establish the terms of reference. Bylaw number 19, 2024, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 22, 2023, being a bylaw to govern the proceedings of the Township of Wainfleet Council, the conduct of its members, and the calling of its meetings. Bylaw number 20, 2024, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 34-2014 of the Corporation of the Township of Wainfleet with respect to all lands within the Township of Wainfleet. Bylaw number 21, 2024, being a bylaw to amend site plan control bylaw 28-2015, bylaw number 22, 2024, being a bylaw to amend medical marijuana licensing bylaw 57-2017, and bylaw 23, 24, being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 34-2014 of the Corporation of the Township of Wainfleet with respect to all lands within the Township of Wainfleet. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Counselor Gilmore and Counselor Anderson. Any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. All in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. So notices of motion, are there any notices of motion this evening? Seeing none, okay. I now have a motion that council move into closed session to discuss item under section 239-2B of the Municipal Act 2001, personal matters about an identifiable individual, one item, a property matter. Item under section 239-2K of the Municipal Act 2001, a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or by or on behalf of the municipality or local board. 3 items, negotiation matters. Minutes of the closed meeting of council held April 9th, 2024, and closed joint special meeting of council held April 29th, 2024. Can I have a mover in a second? Counselor Anderson, Counselor Van Fleet. Okay, so we will now move into closed session. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I forgot to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried.